guys, it's Mahesha again. So today I'm going to do a video about the AMC2 exam. So after my first video, I got a few queries from so many about how to prepare for the AMC2 and tell more about how to get an exam date and where can I start. So many questions. So I thought I'll do a detailed video about my AMC2 journey. So I want you to know that this is my personal experience. This is my journey. This is my story. So it could be different to others. So if you can take anything from my story, I would be really happy. Okay, so just like my first video, I thought I'll break down this video into a few points so that I can talk in detail about each point. So first I'm gonna start talking about what I went through to get a date for the exam. When did I start studying? Where did I start from? What my study plan was? And how did I ace the physical examination cases? About role play, should I role play or should I not role play? What did I do in the last month before the exam? What I did in the last 2 weeks before the exam? And what I did in the last 2 to 3 days before the exam. So let's first talk about booking the exam, which is I would say more than the AMC2 exam, I would say this is the favorite question for anyone who had been trying to get an exam date. So to let you all know, if you haven't been able to get an exam date on your first go, I would say that you're not the first one. So for me, this was the second attempt to get an exam date. All right. So because I attempted to book a date for November last year, but I was not able to. So this was my second attempt, which was successful in getting a date for the exam. But unfortunately, I won't be able to tell you any tips or any strategies on being successful to get an exam date unless, like, all I can tell you is that you just need to have fast fingers. Okay, so I'll just tell a little bit about what I went through to get a date. All right, so I still remember it was the 18th of November and the dates were opening at 10 o'clock in the morning. I think I logged in 1 hour before, but it was not useful, obviously. So sharp at 10 o'clock, the dates opened, and initially my plan was to secure a date for May because I knew I wouldn't be ready before that. So I was able to actually secure a date for May, but then I went to do the payment, and then my debit card just kept declining. I tried 3 or 4 times, it just kept declining. And ultimately the payment gateway just expired and I could not secure that date. I just kept refreshing, and then I was able to secure a date for April, and again I put the debit card, but then it just got declined. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what to do. All I knew was, like, I'm not gonna wait another 3 to 4 months to get a date for the exam. And then I just randomly went on a Telegram group and I saw that so many had commented, debit cards are not working, it's only the credit cards. So I just kept refreshing like a crazy person, because I knew, just like me, whoever could not secure a date by putting a debit card, those dates will pop up eventually. So I just kept refreshing, like I've never refreshed like that before. And then ultimately I was able to secure a date for March. It was the 20th of March. I didn't even think about that. I just put the credit card details and then I was able to get the date. So like I said, I'm so sorry, I just don't know how to give any tips or strategies on booking the exam. You just need to be very fast. You just need to be faster than anyone else. But if any of you know any tips or strategies that would be helpful to others who are watching this video, please comment down below, so that they will be happy to know, because I did get a few queries about like asking, how did you get the exam date? I've tried so much, but I just couldn't get a date. I know what you're talking about. So I wanted to get a date for May, but then I got a date for March. But then at the end of the day, the feeling I got when I booked the exam was a feeling like I passed the AMC2 exam. That was hell of a feeling, and I'm sure most of you would know what I'm talking about if you have been able to get a date successfully for the exam. Alright, so next I'm going to talk about when to start studying. When did I start studying? So before I tell what I did, I would say that this actually depends on what kind of person you are. There are a few factors that this depends on. So first is, are you a person who needs to revise 2 or 3 times before you're confident? Or are you a person who is able to just watch a video once or just go through a note once and you're able to register everything just in one go? And the next is, are you working full time, or are you able to allocate the whole of 24 hours, or obviously not the 24 hours, but then are you at home the whole day, and are you able to commit your day just for studying? So it depends on your situation, and it depends on your capacity, and it depends on what your study pattern is. So talking about myself, I'm a person who is working full time. So, and also I'm a person who needs to revise something minimum twice. But I would be more confident if I can revise something at least 3 times. So that's me. So first you need to understand what kind of person you are, because your study plan, your time allocation, everything depends on what your study pattern is. All right, so because I knew this, I knew that I shouldn't wait to book the exam to start studying. And that being said, like I said before, so I plan to do the exam in May, right? So thinking of that, I actually started studying, I would say like mid-September last year, because I knew that if I wait for the date that I'm booking the exam, it's gonna be just a few months after that, and that would be too soon for me to start studying. So I aimed for May, thinking that I will get a date for May. I started studying like in September, because I was also working full time. Okay, so next I'm gonna talk about where to start. Where did I start from? So when I first decided that I have to do AMC2, it was very difficult finding information, I would say honestly, because I had friends who went through the online exam, but it was difficult for me to find a person who has actually gone through the face-to-face exam. But then I found a friend who did the face-to-face exam, I think about 2 years back, and I knew that I will have to do the face-to-face exam, because then it was decided that in 2025 it's gonna be face-to-face. So my friends who did the online exam, they did give me information, but I knew that the setup is gonna be different. And this is when I came across Dr. Amir Sufi, who is conducting courses for the AMC2 exam. So I've heard about him, but I didn't know anything. But then I've heard good reviews that he's good and his classes are good and they're very helpful. And also my friend who did the exam 2 years back followed Dr. Amir's courses, and I got good feedback from her. So I thought I will also just see if this is that I need. So what I did was I emailed Dr. Amir to find out more about the courses. And the good thing was that in his first videos, he had a very detailed explanation about the exam. So the problem for me before, when I was searching information about the exam, I searched on YouTube, I tried to find information, but there was nothing about the AMC2 face-to-face setup. So it was difficult finding information, and I knew I need an idea about the exam. So I emailed Dr. Amir saying that I'm interested to enroll in one of his courses because I need to know how it is, because I needed to know that is this the right one for me. So like that, I think around mid-September, I enrolled for his medicine chapter 1, and this chapter had a detailed video about the exam. And I would say that is the first time I got detailed information about the AMC2 exam, about the number of stations, about the scoring system, what we have to expect in the exam, and what the examiners expect from us. So much information, and that was very helpful for me. And then just with that video, I enrolled for the first medicine chapter, which was cardiovascular and respiratory, and I did that chapter. So that was before booking the exam, and I think I took about 3 weeks to complete that chapter because I was just floating around aiming for May, and I took so much time just to finish that chapter. But the good thing is, by the end of that chapter, I knew that I have to follow Dr. Amir's courses, because the moment I heard the way he started explaining the cardiovascular cases, I knew that this is the course that I have to follow. Okay, so started from medicine chapter 1, and then I enrolled for medicine chapter 2, and also after that I enrolled for psychiatry because I have always been bad with psychiatry, and I knew that I have to start it beforehand to get a better idea. So by the time I booked the exam, I was able to finish 3 chapters out of the so many. All right, so just talking a bit about the number of all the chapters in his courses. So we've got 5 medicine chapters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there is psychiatry, there's counseling, physical examination, pediatrics part 1 and 2, then obstetrics and gynecology. So just counting that even now makes me anxious, because when I booked the exam, I was only done with 3, and I knew I had so much to do. I booked the exam on the 18th of November. My exam was booked for the 20th of March. So how many months? December, January, February, March. Just 4 months. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to finish all this in just 4 months while working full time? Okay, so let's get on to my study plan. How did I plan to finish as much as possible before the exam? Okay, so the first thing is you need to have a deadline. When I say deadline, so I had a deadline on when I'm going to finish watching the videos and making the notes, because this is what takes most of your time. All his courses had about at least 40 videos. Minimum was 35, I would say. Minimum was 35. So watching the videos and making the notes was very exhausting and time consuming. So you need to have a plan. If you're going to follow Dr. Amir, you need to have a plan. When is your exam and when are you going to finish watching the videos and making the notes? So I've done only 3, and I had medicine chapter 3, 4, 5, counseling, physical examination, pediatrics 1 and 2, obstetrics and gynecology, and that comes to 9. So what I did was, I decided to finish watching the videos and making the notes by first week of February. So then I would say I have at least 1.5 months to revise and just make a plan for the rest. And that being said, this is because I was not able to join Dr. Amir's live classes because of work. But if you are able to join his live classes, you are going to make the notes just with him and be done with it. I would say that is a easier and a better way. But I could not do that because I was working full time. So I just had to allocate the time, the free time I had, to watch the videos and making the notes. So make a plan. So what I did was actually, my first decision was that I'm just going to enroll in all his courses. But that being said, at the end, I was not able to do gynecology because I didn't have time. So what I did was, when I enroll for one course, I used to count the number of videos, and then I would decide, okay, by this day, I'm going to finish this chapter. And also, if you just sit for 3 to 4 hours, you can actually do a lot. So I was working full time, and I remember, like, even if I get like 1 to 2 hours free during my work, I would watch at least 1 to 2 videos. And then sometimes when the day finishes, I would watch at least 7 to 8 videos. So in courses where there were like 40 videos, I would try to finish that chapter in a week. So I think medicine chapters 3, 4 and 5, I was able to finish very fast. But then counseling was very long, because counseling is a very broad subject, and it had so many cases, so many topics. So I knew it was not practical for me to finish counseling in just a week or two. So then what I decided was, my aim was to do counseling and the physical examination videos on the go, like as in while I'm doing counseling and PE videos, I thought I will finish the medicine chapters and the pediatrics and the ONG, right? So that's how I planned. So my plan was to finish by the first week of February. And also with that plan, this number of days was not gonna be only watching videos and making notes. So when I was watching videos for medicine chapter 3, I would revise medicine chapter 1. When I'm watching videos for medicine chapter 4, I would revise medicine chapter 2. So my day was not just about watching the videos and making notes, but it was also about revising whatever I had done before. And also, that being said, Dr. Amir always has a role play session for each chapter. And if you're a person who can engage in that, I would say that is always a good revision. I was not able to do that because I was not able to catch up with the classes and then the role play sessions, because I knew I will not be able to revise to prepare myself for the role play sessions. So that's what I decided. So I decided to just do it the way I'm doing it. So I thought I'll just revise it on my own and go in the pace that I decided. Okay, so like I said, my deadline was the first week of February, but very sadly, I was not able to finish by the first week of February because it was a lot. Honestly talking, it was a lot. The content was so much, and there were days that I was so exhausted watching the videos and making the notes. It was just me telling myself, you just have to keep going because you need to finish this before this day. But somehow I was able to finish watching the videos and making the notes by the second week of February. And then an extra tip that I used is this. This is my golden book. So whenever I was watching the videos and making notes, I made a separate notebook with all the differentials, for each cases. So for an example, this is the musculoskeletal. So for back pain, what were the differentials? Then for neck pain, what are the differentials? For shoulder pain, what are the differentials? So for everything, I think up to pediatrics, I was able to make the differentials because I knew I would need this definitely when my exam is closer. So this is my golden book, and I would definitely advise you guys, if when you're watching the videos and making the notes, just on the side, keep a notebook like this and write a topic and write the differentials, because that is very useful. And I would say this book definitely saved me a lot of time, and also just helped me to definitely improve my memory about so many things. Study plan is very important. Okay, so I'm just going to show a little bit about my study plan. I'm just going to put this on the side as well so you guys can get a better look. So this plan, so this was from the 6th of January, and it has only actually up to the 9th of February. So this was about what I'm going to do each day, because about the videos that I'm going to watch, what are the topics I'm going to revise, what are the PE cases I'm going to revise. So it's a bit of everything. So like I said, I was not just watching the videos and making notes on one day. I was doing little things on, like, just on the side, not very big things. Like for an example, on the 6th of January, I decided to watch 5 pediatric videos, and then I decided to go through the hand PE videos, and then I decided to watch 2 counseling videos, and also I decided to revise on the shoulder cases, fibromyalgia and polymyalgia rheumatica, whatever I have written here. So like that, I just did a little bit of everything. For one reason is because if I just watch only pediatric videos, I knew that I'm gonna get bored, so I couldn't do that. So I just made it interesting for myself, because I knew that I will be able to do more and be more productive rather than just sticking to one thing. So this was my study plan, and you would wonder why there is a gap, why I haven't done anything in these days. And that's because I had to start a new job on the 20th of January was my starting date. So guys, that being said, moving jobs on top of the exam was very challenging. Getting used to a new working environment, and on the back of the head I knew that I have to study for the exam. It was very challenging. So I kept these few days free, because I knew if I wrote stuff on those days, and if I'm not able to do that, I'm gonna get depressed. So what I thought was, I'll just leave it black, and then I'll just try to cover up whatever I have left from the first 2 lines, and then start fresh from here. And also, whatever I have highlighted is what I was able to do. And honestly speaking, I was not able to do all what I have planned on the exact date. I would just leave it and then start the next day fresh. And if I have time, I'll come back and finish whatever I had here. So it's very funny to see still there are a few things that have not been highlighted, which means I was not able to do them at all. All right, so this was my study plan. And just make your own study plan. Be creative. Only you know who you are. Only you know what you can do and what your capacity is. So make your own study plan. But that being said, my advice is have a study plan. Don't just blindly do whatever you have to. Have a plan, because that will be very helpful in order for you to in order for you to be done with most of the stuff that you have to do. so now let's talk about role play. It's a very common question. Should you role play? Should you not role play? Is it that important? So let's talk about what I did. Before I just say what I did, it's always important to, like I said before, it's always important to know who you are. If you're a person who can register things more by just talking to another person, then yeah, I think role play will help you. But if you think that you can practice on your own and you don't need another person to remember everything, then I wouldn't say it's important. Let's talk a little bit about what I did. So my plan was to try revising as much as possible before I start role playing. Honestly speaking, I started role playing, I would say, like the first week of February, but I also knew that I'm not going to invest a lot of time for role playing, because I thought sometimes practicing on my own would be more beneficial for me. But I did role play. There was a study partner. I found a study partner who had the exam on the same day. So we role played only the medicine cases because that's all the time we had. And I would say by the 3rd or 4th week of February, I decided that I'm not going to role play anymore. But what I always did was, whenever I was revising a chapter, medicine or pediatrics or whatever, I used to always just put the timer on my phone and just practice the question that I'm going to ask the patient, right? So the difference in role playing is the person on the other end is going to answer your questions, right? So what I did was, whenever I was free, like I used to just put the timer on my phone and just practice the questions that I'm going to ask the patient. And I would just imagine the answers that the patient's gonna answer. So I did not invest a lot of time in role playing, but that being said, it's also important to understand what kind of person you are. So I actually role played only the medicine chapters. It was also not every day. It was like on alternate days because I was working full time, and I used to come home around 5 or 5:30, and then I knew that I could not role play every day because I need to allocate whatever the time I have to practice myself as well. So we role played like on alternate days for about 2 hours, and we didn't invest a lot of time. Like I said, even when we role play like the 2 hours, we would do like 3 cases each, and then criticize on each other the mistakes and give a genuine feedback to your role player. So if you have a lot of time for preparation, role playing is good. But if you don't have a lot of time for preparation, don't invest a lot of time for role playing. You can practice on your own. So I used to, on the days that I didn't role play, I just put the timer on my phone to 7 minutes, because it is in the exam it's 8 minutes. So I thought I'll just put the timer for 7 minutes and practice the questions I ask, and just practice telling the differentials as much as possible. Next, I'm gonna start talking about how did I ace my physical examination cases. So this was, I would say, out of everything, like I was so anxious about the PE cases because, you know, as you all know, in the online exam, you're telling what you're gonna do. But in the face-to-face exam, you're examining a patient for real, right? So I was very anxious about the PE cases. I obviously enrolled for Dr. Amir's PE course. So he had a hybrid PE course, so which was, there were all the videos on how to do the examination, the special tests, and a very extensive course, online course. And then there was in-person there was an in-person class which was held in Melbourne. So I enrolled for this because I knew I had to do this. So how did I ace my PE cases? I would say it was actually interesting. So what I did was, I knew that I couldn't wait to start practicing. I couldn't wait to finish watching all the videos to actually start practicing the PE cases. So what I actually did was, I would watch the videos. Let's say for an example, I would watch the cardiovascular cases, PE cases. So I would watch them on one day and make the note to myself. And then what I would do is, like, in about 2 or 3 days, I would practice these cases on my partner. So like that, every day, definitely from January, although maybe not, so up to December, I would definitely watch as much as videos I can. But then definitely from January, possibly every night, even if I was not able to do every night, at least every other night, I used to practice at least 2 to 3 PE cases on my partner. So initially what I did was, I practiced the cases without a timer, just to get the hang of it, just to get used to the technique, right? And then when I knew that I was able to do it like in a good flow, and then I would put the timer. So initially I put the timer for 8 minutes to see if I can actually finish examining and telling the differentials in 8 minutes. And then when I knew that I was actually getting the hang of it, I used to time for 7 minutes and practice the PE cases. So every day or every other night, I used to practice at least 2 to 3 PE cases just to keep in touch. So my advice is, don't wait to finish watching all the PE videos to start practicing, because we tend to forget very easily. So like I did, you can always watch a video and then just practice that within another 2 to 3 days, so that you know whatever you watched, you are also able to do. And then a little bit about Dr. Amir's hybrid PE course. So I knew that before I went for the course, obviously I have to finish everything. I definitely had to, because I booked the class for the 17th and 18th of March and my exam was on the 20th, so there was no excuse. So all I wanted was to finish practicing all the PE cases before I went for his in-person class. And that in-person class was very helpful. That class helped me to build a lot of confidence. Like, even if it was just 2 days before the exam, there were times that you forget what you're doing. So that class was very helpful. It was a full 2-day class, and from 8 o'clock to about 5 o'clock in the evening. So the whole day Dr. Amir would go through all the cases, and the good thing was that he had all the mannequins, all the equipment. So in between, like in the breaks, you were able to practice or just time and practice and get familiar with the equipment. So that was very helpful. And the most interesting thing that I want to say here is that at the end of the class, like about around 5:30 or 5 or 5:30, he did like a trial exam. So you're in one bench with your bench partner, a new friend. I went for the class alone. I didn't know anybody when I went to the class. So your bench partner is your examiner, and he did two cases on one day. So there were 4 trial cases at the end of the class. So he would put the timer, and you're going to examine the patient was your examiner. So you would examine your partner, and then he or she will genuinely criticize and give you like a proper scoring. So he gave like a scoring sheet for each case so that your partner is able to put the scores for you. And believe me or not, I failed all 4 trial cases. But I remembered what Dr. Amir said in class. You cry with me here in the class and then you party after the exam. So I failed all the trial cases in class, but I'm very happy to say that at the exam I had 3 PE cases and I passed all the 3 cases. So it's all about practice. Acing the PE cases is all about practice. So there is no point watching the video and making the note and saying to yourself, oh, I finished watching the videos. That's not the thing. You have to practice, practice, practice. I struggled a lot with musculoskeletal because all the joint examinations, the special cases, it was not easy to remember. Like keeping the flow was actually challenging, but I knew like towards the exam, I practiced so much. I knew what I was doing. But at the start, I was like, what am I doing? I can't remember what the next special test is. Should I do this special test or is this relevant to this case? It was very challenging, but then towards like closer to the exam, I knew what I was doing. So it's all about practice. Like you can feel it yourself. Like when you keep practicing every day or every other day, you know that you're getting the hang of it and you're doing a good job. And you actually can be very confident before you go to the exam. Alright, so now I'm just going to talk about what I did in the last month before the exam. So last 1 month for me was just extensive revision. I revised so much. I don't think I have revised so much before that. So you have to plan your last 1 month. I'm sorry, I don't have my plan to show you today, but it's all about revision. So whatever you studied, you have to keep practicing. Like, just imagine a case, just put the time on your phone and practice the questions you're going to ask. Like even the counseling cases, you have to practice what you're going to say. Because it's all about talking. In counseling stations, it's all about talking. And if you are keeping quiet, that means you have not practiced enough. So I used to practice like role playing or questions myself. When I just drove to work, I did not listen to any radio. I just practiced whatever I was going to ask. So last 1 month has to be extensive revision because there's nothing else you should do. I would say if you haven't watched the videos or if you haven't finished watching the videos and if you have a few left, maybe you can allocate time in that last month to finish off the videos as much as possible. But my advice is last month has to be just revising. And that being said, I revised at least 3 times. Even cardiovascular, like for an example, chest pain. Okay, you know you have to ask the Sikora questions and then the questions for the differentials, and if you find a diagnosis, you just have to explain the diagnosis. You know you have to do it. But it's just that when you start doing it, you forget. You think, oh, chest pain is very easy. I always see patients with chest pain. I always ask these questions. But it's just that the tension with the time. Because in real life, when you talk to a patient, you're not concerned about the time. You just take your own time and just ask the questions from the patient. But here, the problem is you have to stick to that time. You have only 8 minutes to do 3 or 4 tasks. So all you can do is just practice. So last 1 month has to be revising everything, like PE, counseling, psychiatry, medicine, ONG, PEDS, everything. So, but you need to have a plan on what you're going to revise on this day. How many days are you going to revise medicine chapter 1? How many days are you going to allocate for medicine chapter 2? Or are you going to do a mix of it? If you are a person who thinks, oh, if I do like a little bit of everything, I will get mixed up in my head, then you need to make a plan for your own self. So make a plan for the last month, make it productive. Don't waste your time for anything else other than eating, sleeping, drinking, and cleaning. That's it. Just be committed in the last month, because that revision can make a huge difference. Next, I'm going to talk about what are you going to do in the last 2 weeks. So for this, I actually got the guidance from Dr. Amir, because he did a live session on what you're going to do in the last 2 weeks before the exam. So the most important thing he said in this that I took into my head is that you're not going to see anything new in the last 2 weeks. You're not going to find new stuff to put into your head in the last 2 weeks, because that's what he said. This is not the time for that. New things should have been gone through before. The last 2 weeks before the exam is not the time to look at new things, finding new notes or new questions. No, it's not the time. So the last 2 weeks is only about studying whatever you have gathered in the last 4, 5, 6 months, or the last whole of last year. So last 2 weeks is just about revising whatever you have been revising, and you're not going to do anything new apart from that. Alright, so now comes the most nervous time period before the exam. So the last 2 to 3 days before the exam, what did I do? So March 20th was my exam. So I remember 16th of March we flew to Melbourne, and then 17th and 18th I had the class. So I was actually studying in the flight too, because I was just reading, because it was just the feeling, like I knew I had to just keep reading. I didn't want to, it was not like active studying, but just getting my eyes used to whatever I have been going through in the last few months. So I just kept reading. And then 17th and 18th, it was the whole day, it was the classes. But then I always had my golden book with me. So whenever there were breaks, and if I was not practicing with the mannequins at the class, I would just go through my differentials, and also I would take whatever I knew that I was not confident, I would just take that to the class and just read through, just rapidly read through. And then also I remember, like, after coming back to the apartment from the class, whatever the PE cases that I knew that I was not confident, I just came back home and practiced on my partner. Especially the 4 trial cases that I failed in the class, I came back, timed, and practiced. So it was all about just keep doing, and then the 19th of March was my free day before the exam. So it's actually, like, even difficult to think, like, what are you actually going to do? Like, it's the last day before the exam, like, what do you do? I just kept going through the differentials, honestly. And then also from Dr. Amir's PE class, he also gave this like a booklet with all the differentials of the topics. So whatever I didn't have in my book, I went through that. And then there were a few things that I knew that I just had to rapidly, just turn the pages and go, so that I'm happy that I just at least, like, visualized it once. Like, for honestly, like, pediatrics, there were a few things that I was not very confident about. So and counseling. so I just rapidly just turned the pages just to visualize them once and register in my mind. So last day, I didn't stay up late, obviously, because I wanted a fresh start for my exam. I wanted to get proper sleep. So the exam started at I think 9, but then I wanted to be there early, so I slept early. I think around 9:30 or 10 I went to sleep, but I did get up around 4 or 5, I think, because from where I stayed it was just about 10 minutes to the exam center. So I woke up around 5 and got my golden book again and just went through the differentials, and I felt ready. I actually felt ready, but I didn't want to think a lot. I thought, whatever I have practiced, I thought to myself, like, I've done my maximum. And believe me or not, like, before my exam I actually told my partner, if I fail this exam, I don't know what else I should do. So with prayers to God, I went for the exam, and it was, I would say, one of the most nervous days that have been in my life. I also thought I would just add about this. It would be a question to you guys, like, should I do the AMC Handbook? And I would say yes. I know the AMC Handbook is quite old, but still, what I can understand is they do actually take cases from the handbook even now. So I remember that Dr. Amir said you have to do it at least once. I tried to do at least once, but I couldn't finish the whole of it. But I think I would have covered at least half of the handbook if I had more time. If I got the date for May like I planned, I would have finished the handbook, but I couldn't. So my advice is, while you're watching the videos or making notes, also allocate a few hours of your day to go through the handbook cases, because it actually has pretty interesting cases. So go through the handbook cases and try to finish the handbook at least once before your exam. Okay guys, so I am going to wrap up my video. So before I finish, I want to tell you all that this is definitely a doable exam. I'm not telling this because I passed it, but I'm telling you this because I actually faced the exam, and it's definitely doable. But you cannot be just floating and blindly go for this exam. You have to extensively practice. You have to be committed. You have to be committed. If not, you cannot, because this exam is actually not easy. It's not about the questions, it's more about how they assess you, what they expect from you, how they score you. You might feel that you did everything, but you must have failed. But it's about how you practice too. So AMC 2 is not about how much you study, it's just about how you do it. Like, you have to do it in a smart way. Just making the note is not going to be helpful. If you think you're a person who needs a lot of time making notes, you have to plan beforehand. Like, for example, but myself, like, I used to just watch the video and just make the note as I watched the video. It was very rarely that I would stop the video and take another 5 minutes to write the note. I wouldn't do that. I would just continue to watch the video, and while watching I would just finish the notes. And that's why I was able to finish watching the videos very soon, like, or very fast, I would say. But if you're a person who needs more time, you need to plan. So that's why you need to plan for this exam. You actually need to make a smart plan, understand what kind of person you are when it comes to studying, understand yourself, and make a smart plan for this exam. And you can definitely do it. Definitely do it. It's definitely doable, but you need to know that the word passed in your AMC portal comes with a lot of hard work, lot of commitment, and a lot of time too. So be smart and plan in a smart way. It's definitely doable. And I'm just hoping that this video had been helpful to everyone who's looking for a video about AMC2, about preparation for AMC2. And also next, I'm going to talk a few words about the experience that I got on the day of the exam, so that you will be able to understand what you're gonna face, because it was a new setup. They started face-to-face new from March this year, so it was a new exam center. So I will talk a little bit more, maybe not a lot, but just a little bit about what I experienced on the day of the exam, about the exam environment, and so that it would be helpful to you all. So I am hoping to meet you guys in another video very soon. Thank you for watching this, and I hope whoever watches this would like this video. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm just gonna keep making videos that will be helpful for the IMGs. Alright guys, so till I see you in another video, take care and goodbye.